The unexpected discovery. The vastness of space stretched out before Captain Elara Chen as she stood on the bridge of the CSS Horizon, Earth's most advanced deep space exploration vessel. The ship's sleek obsidian hull earned it the nickname the Black Ship among the crew. Elara's dark eyes scanned the holographic displays surrounding her, searching for any anomalies in the sea of stars. Captain Wat, picking up an unusual energy signature, reported Lieutenant Raj Patel, his fingers dancing across the sensor controls. It's unlike anything we've encountered before. Elara's heart raced with excitement. After months of uneventful exploration, they might have stumbled upon something truly remarkable. Can you pinpoint the source, Lieutenant? Raj nodded, his brow furrowed in concentration. Yes, ma'am. It's coming from a small planetoid at 500,000 kilometers from our current position. Helm, set a course, Elara ordered. Let's see what we found. As the Horizon glided through space towards the mysterious energy source, Elara couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the cusp of something monumental. Humanity had been reaching for the stars for centuries, and now further from Earth than any human had ever ventured, they might finally make a groundbreaking discovery. Hours later, the planetoid came into view. Its craggy, lifeless surface belied the pulsing energy emanating from within. Elara ordered a full sensor sweep and was stunned by the results. "Captain, you're not going to believe this," Raj said, his voice filled with awe. "The energy signature, it's artificial. And based on our initial scans, it's at least 1,000,000 years old." A hush fell over the bridge as the implications sank in. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe. More importantly, they had just stumbled upon technology far beyond their own. "Prepare an away team," Elara commanded, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "I'll lead the expedition myself." As Elara donned her sleek, white EVA suit, she couldn't help but marvel at how far humanity had come. The suit was a masterpiece of human engineering, capable of withstanding extreme temperatures and radiation while providing unparalleled mobility. Yet, she knew that whatever they were about to encounter would likely make their most advanced technology seem primitive by comparison. The away team, consisting of Elara, Raj, Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the ship's xenobiologist, and Sergeant Maria Gonzalez, head of security, descended to the planetoid's surface in a sleek shuttle. As they approached the source of the energy signature, they discovered a massive, half-buried structure that seemed to defy the laws of physics. "It's beautiful," Dr. Tanaka whispered as they stood before the enigmatic artifact. Its surface shimmered with an otherworldly iridescence, patterns of light dancing across its smooth contours. Elara approached cautiously, her hand hovering over the artifact's surface. "Dr. Tanaka, any theories on what this might be?" Before Yuki could respond, the artifact pulsed with energy. A beam of light engulfed the away team, and Elara felt a strange sensation, as if her mind was being probed by an alien intelligence. Suddenly, a holographic projection materialized before them, depicting a being unlike anything they had ever seen. Its form was fluid, constantly shifting between states of matter, yet unmistakably sentient. "Greetings, children of Earth," the being spoke, its voice resonating in their minds rather than their ears. "We are the Zinthari, guardians of the galaxy's wisdom. You have proven yourselves worthy by activating this beacon." Elara stepped forward, her voice filled with a mixture of awe and determination. "I am Captain Elara Chen of the CSS Horizon, representing humanity. We come in peace and with a desire to learn." The Zinthari's form rippled, as if pleased by her response. "Your species shows great potential, Elara Chen, but you have much to learn and little time to do so. The galaxy is vast and filled with wonders, and dangers beyond your comprehension." As the alien continued to speak, Elara and her team learned of a galactic community far older and more complex than they could have imagined. The Zinthari warned of ancient conflicts, of species that would view humanity as a threat to be eliminated, and of others that might seek to exploit Earth's resources. You stand at a crossroads, the Zinthari explained. Your discovery of this beacon will not go unnoticed. Some will welcome you, others will fear you, and a few will seek to destroy you before you can realize your full potential. Elara felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. In this moment, she wasn't just a starship captain. She was an ambassador for all of humanity, making decisions that would shape the future of her entire species. What would you have us do? Elara asked, her voice steady despite the enormity of the situation. The Zinthari's form pulsed with energy. Learn, adapt, prepare. We cannot interfere directly, but this beacon contains knowledge that will help you navigate the challenges ahead. Use it wisely, for the choices you make in the coming days will determine not only the fate of humanity, but potentially the balance of power in the galaxy. As the hologram faded, the artifact began to hum with power. Streams of data flooded into their suit's computers, containing star charts, technological blueprints, and histories of countless alien civilizations. Elara turned to her team, seeing the same mix of excitement and trepidation in their eyes that she felt herself. We need to report this to Earth immediately. The world as we know it is about to change forever. As they made their way back to the shuttle, Elara's mind raced with the implications of their discovery. Humanity had dreamed of this moment for generations, proof that they were not alone in the universe. But now that the moment had arrived, she realized that it was both more wondrous and more terrifying than anyone could have imagined. The CSS Horizon broke orbit, carrying with it knowledge that would revolutionize human civilization. But as they set a course for Earth, Elara couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Somewhere out in the vast expanse of space, other eyes had noticed the activation of the Zinthari beacon, and not all of them were friendly. Humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning, and Elara Chen found herself at the center of a cosmic storm that would shake the destiny of her species. As the Black Ship sailed through the star-studded void, she silently vowed to do whatever it took to ensure humanity's survival and success in this new, vastly more complicated universe. Little did she know that her resolve would be tested sooner than she could have ever anticipated, as the ripples of their discovery spread across the galaxy, setting in motion events that would change the course of galactic history forever. The Galactic Summit. The journey back to Earth was tense with anticipation. Captain Elara Chen spent countless hours poring over the data from the Zinthari beacon, her mind reeling from the sheer scope of information they'd acquired. As the CSS Horizon approached Earth's orbit, a fleet of ships from every major nation on the planet moved to intercept them. Looks like news of our discovery has preceded us, Lieutenant Raj Patel observed, his voice tinged with nervousness. Elara nodded, her face set in determination. Open a channel to the fleet. It's time to share what we've learned. The following weeks were a whirlwind of debriefings, negotiations, and global preparation. The nations of Earth, realizing the magnitude of the situation, set aside their differences to present a united front to the galaxy at large. Elara found herself at the center of it all, her first-hand experience with the Zinthari artifact making her an invaluable asset. 3 months after the Horizon's return, Earth received its first official alien visitors. The Galactic Conclave, an alliance of spacefaring civilizations, sent a delegation to formally introduce humanity to the wider galactic community. The day of the Galactic Summit arrived, and Elara stood on a stage in the newly constructed Unity Plaza in Geneva, flanked by world leaders and her crew. Before them, a diverse array of alien species gathered, some humanoid, others defying easy description. A tall, willowy being with iridescent skin stepped forward. I am Ambassador Zilar of the Galactic Conclave. On behalf of the sentient species of our galaxy, we welcome humanity to the cosmic stage. As Zilar spoke, Elara couldn't help but marvel at the variety of life forms before her. There were the Volcrin, a silicon-based species that communicated through bioluminescence, the Graph, hulking reptilians with a complex honor code, and the Aetheri, beings of pure energy contained within crystalline matrices. The human delegation, led by the newly appointed Global Council, engaged in talks with the various alien factions. Ilara, with her unique insight into the Zinthari artifact, found herself acting as a bridge between humanity and the galactic community. However, as the summit progressed, it became clear that not all species viewed humanity's sudden emergence with benevolence. The Krell, a warlike species with a vast empire, viewed Earth as a potential threat to their dominance. During a tense negotiation session, the Krell ambassador, a towering figure with obsidian scales and piercing red eyes, confronted Ilara. "Your species claims to have activated a Zinthari beacon," the Krell hissed, its forked tongue flicking in agitation. "Such technology is beyond your comprehension. Surrender it to those better equipped to utilize it." Ilara stood her ground, her voice steady. "The beacon chose to reveal itself to humanity. We have no intention of surrendering knowledge freely given." The Krell's eyes narrowed dangerously. "Then perhaps your species is too dangerous to be allowed further advancement." As tensions rose, other factions began to take sides. The Etheri and Volcrins spoke in favor of humanity, impressed by their quick adaptation and peaceful intentions. The Graph remained neutral, their code of honor preventing them from interfering in what they saw as a test of humanity's worthiness. Amidst the political maneuvering, Ilara found an unexpected ally in Kirazen, a Zinthari observer who had been silently watching the proceedings. The ethereal being approached Ilara during a recess. "Your species shows great promise, Ilara Chen," Kirazen communicated telepathically. "But be wary. The knowledge you possess has upset the balance of power in our galaxy. Some will seek to destroy you rather than allow a new player on the cosmic stage." Ilara nodded, the weight of responsibility heavy on her shoulders. "What would you advise?" Kirazen's form shimmered thoughtfully. "Trust in your species' strengths. Humanity's adaptability and ingenuity are your greatest assets, but also be prepared for conflict. The Krell do not make idle threats." As the summit entered its final days, Earth's representatives worked tirelessly to secure alliances and trade agreements. The Global Council, recognizing the need for a unified space force, announced the formation of the Earth Defense Fleet. To Ilara's surprise, she was offered command of the fleet's flagship, an advanced vessel incorporating technology derived from the Zinthari beacon. The night before the summit's conclusion, Ilara stood on the balcony of her hotel room, gazing up at the stars. The sky seemed different now, teeming with possibility and danger in equal measure. A soft chime from her communicator interrupted her reverie. It was a message from Dr. Yuki Tanaka, who had remained aboard the Horizon to study the artifact. "Captain, we've made a breakthrough," Yuki's excited voice came through. "The artifact isn't just a beacon. It's a key to a network of ancient Zinthari technology scattered throughout the galaxy. If we can locate and activate these sites, we could gain access to knowledge and capabilities beyond our wildest dreams." Ilara's mind raced with the implications. Such a discovery could secure humanity's place among the stars, or paint an even larger target on Earth's back. Before she could respond, alarms blared across the city. Ilara rushed to the command center, her heart pounding. On the main view screen, a massive fleet of ships was dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. "It's the Krell," Ambassador Zillar announced, his usual calm demeanor shaken. "They're launching an attack on your system." As chaos erupted in the command center, Ilara's training kicked in. She began issuing orders, coordinating with Earth's defensive forces and their new alien allies. But as reports of the Krell fleet's size and capabilities came in, a sinking feeling settled in her stomach. Earth was about to face its first interstellar war, and they were woefully unprepared. Ilara turned to the assembled leaders, her voice cutting through the panic. "We need to evacuate as many people as possible to the Zinthari artifact. It might be our only hope of safeguarding our species and the knowledge we've gained." As the first shots of the battle lit up the night sky, Ilara Chen realized that humanity's bold journey to the stars had only just begun, and its greatest challenges lay ahead. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, now rested on the choices they would make in the coming hours. With determination in her eyes, Ilara prepared to lead humanity into an uncertain, but potentially glorious, future among the stars. The betrayal. The Krell invasion caught Earth off guard, despite the warnings and preparations. As the alien armada approached, Captain Ilara Chen found herself thrust into the role of humanity's defender. The newly formed Earth Defense Fleet, still in its infancy, scrambled to mount a resistance. Ilara stood aboard the EDF Defiant, Earth's flagship incorporating Xinthari technology. The bridge hummed with tense energy as officers coordinated with ground defenses and their alien allies. Status report, Ilara commanded, her voice steady despite the chaos unfolding on the view screens. Lieutenant Raj Patel, who had insisted on joining her crew, responded quickly. The Krell fleet has breached our outer defenses. They're deploying some kind of energy weapon we've never seen before. Our shields are barely holding. Ilara's mind raced, recalling the vast database of alien technology they'd acquired. Route power from non-essential systems to the shields. Prepare to deploy the phase-shift torpedoes. As the battle raged, Earth's allies arrived to join the fight. The crystalline ships of the Etheri danced through space, their energy weapons slicing through Krell fighters. The massive, organic vessels of the Volprine provided crucial support, absorbing damage that would have obliterated human ships. For a moment, it seemed like the tide was turning. Then, without warning, a portion of the Allied fleet suddenly turned their weapons on Earth's defenders. "Captain," Raj shouted, his voice filled with disbelief. "The Graf ships are attacking us." Ilara's blood ran cold. The Graf, who had remained neutral during the summit, had chosen their side, and it wasn't humanity's. This was their plan all along, Ilara realized aloud. The Krell attack was a diversion. The Graf were waiting for the right moment to strike. As Earth's forces found themselves caught between two powerful enemies, Ilara made a difficult decision. All ships, fall back to secondary defensive positions. We need to regroup and protect our population centers. The retreat was costly. Dozens of Earth's ships were lost, along with countless brave pilots. The Defiant shuddered under repeated impacts, its advanced shields barely holding. Amidst the chaos, a familiar voice cut through the comm channels. "Captain Chen, this is Kira, the Xinthari artifact on the planetoid. You must protect it at all costs. It holds the key to humanity's survival." Ilara hesitated for a split second, torn between defending Earth and safeguarding the artifact. But deep down, she knew Kira was right. That artifact represented humanity's best hope for the future. "Raj, set a course for the artifact. Maximum speed," Ilara ordered. "And get me aligned to the Global Council. We need to initiate the evacuation protocols." As the Defiant broke away from Earth's orbit, Ilara watched her homeworld grow smaller on the viewscreen. Fires were visible on the surface where Krell weapons had broken through the defenses. The sight filled her with a mixture of sorrow and determination. The journey to the planetoid was fraught with danger. Krell and Graf ships pursued them, recognizing the importance of their destination. Ilara and her crew pushed the Defiant to its limits, using every trick and tactic they could muster. Finally, they reached the artifact. As they approached, the ancient structure pulsed with energy, responding to their presence. "Captain," Dr. Yuki Tanaka's voice came through the comm. She had been studying the artifact since its discovery. "I've made a breakthrough. The artifact isn't just a beacon or a database. It's a key to a network of wormholes left behind by the Xinthari. We can use it to evacuate a significant portion of Earth's population." Ilara's heart raced with hope. "Can you activate it?" "I think so," Yuki replied. "But it will take time, and we'll need to defend the artifact while I work." As if on cue, the first wave of enemy ships appeared on their sensors. Ilara turned to her crew, her eyes blazing with determination. "This is where we make our stand. For Earth, for humanity's future, we hold this line." The battle that ensued was unlike anything in human history. The Defiant, empowered by Zinthari technology, fought with a ferocity that surprised even their enemies. Ilara's tactical genius shone as she outmaneuvered ships with far superior firepower. Meanwhile, on the planetoid's surface, Dr. Tanaka worked feverishly to unlock the artifact's secrets. Each passing minute felt like an eternity as the fate of humanity hung in the balance. Just as it seemed the Defiant couldn't take any more punishment, the artifact flared to life. A massive wormhole opened nearby, its swirling vortex a beacon of hope. "It's done," Yuki's triumphant voice echoed through the comm. "The evacuation fleet can begin transport." Ilara allowed herself a brief moment of relief before focusing on the task at hand. "All ships, form a defensive perimeter around the wormhole. We need to buy time for as many people to evacuate as possible." As the battle raged on, ships carrying millions of Earth's inhabitants began pouring through the wormhole. It was a bittersweet sight, humanity saved, but at the cost of leaving their homeworld behind. Hours passed, and the defending fleet's numbers dwindled. The Defiant's shields were on the verge of collapse, its hull breached in multiple sections. But still, Ilara and her crew fought on. Just when all seemed lost, a new fleet emerged from the wormhole. Ships of designs they'd never seen before, clearly of Zinthari origin, joined the fray. Their advanced weapons cut through the Krell and Graf ships with ease. Kairozen's voice filled the Defiant's bridge. "You have proven yourselves worthy, humans. The Zinthari will no longer stand idly by. Take your people to safety. We will cover your retreat." With a heavy heart but a spirit unbroken, Ilara gave the order. The Defiant, along with the remaining human ships, entered the wormhole. As they passed through, Ilara took one last look at the battle behind them, a final glimpse of the solar system humanity had called home for millennia. On the other side of the wormhole, a new world awaited, a sanctuary hidden among the stars. As the Defiant emerged, Ilara saw the streams of refugee ships arriving, carrying the hopes and dreams of her species. Ilara Chen, once a simple starship captain, now found herself the de facto leader of humanity's survivors. As she gazed upon the alien world that would be their new home, she silently vowed to not only ensure humanity's survival, but to one day reclaim Earth and take their rightful place among the stars. The betrayal they had suffered was a harsh lesson, but it had also forged humanity into something stronger. With the knowledge of the Zinthari and the determination born from near extinction, a new chapter in human history was about to begin. And somewhere out in the vast expanse of space, the Krell and Graf would soon learn that they had not defeated humanity. They had merely awakened a sleeping giant. The Great Exodus. The alien world that greeted the human refugees was a stark contrast to Earth. Twin suns cast an eerie purple glow over a landscape of crystalline forests and shimmering plains. As the Defiant touched down on this new world, which they would come to call Nova Terra, Captain Ilara Chen felt the weight of responsibility settle even more heavily on her shoulders. Millions of scared, confused humans poured out of the evacuation ships, their eyes wide with a mixture of wonder and sorrow as they took in their new surroundings. Ilara knew that their survival would depend on swift action and strong leadership. "We need to establish a command center immediately," Ilara announced to her gathered officers. "Reg, coordinate with the other ship captains. We need to take stock of our resources and begin setting up shelters. Dr. Tanaka, I need you to analyze this planet's environment. We need to know if it's truly safe for long-term habitation." As her crew sprang into action, Ilara found herself approached by members of the Global Council who had managed to evacuate. Among them was Dr. Marcus Hawthorne, a respected diplomat who had been instrumental in the Galactic Summit. "Captain Chen," Hawthorne said, his voice grave, "given the circumstances, the Council believes you should assume leadership of our people. Your experience with alien species and your actions during the evacuation make you the best choice to guide us through this crisis." Ilara felt a moment of hesitation. She was a starship captain, not a political leader. But as she looked around at the sea of frightened faces, she knew she couldn't refuse. "I accept," she said firmly. "But I'll need the Council's support. We're going to have to rebuild our entire civilization from scratch." The following weeks were a blur of activity. Nova Terra, while breathtaking, presented numerous challenges. The crystalline vegetation was inedible to humans, and the planet's weather patterns were erratic and often violent. But humanity, as it had always done, adapted. Using technology salvaged from their ships and knowledge gleaned from the Zinthari database, they began to terraform small areas of the planet. Biodomes sprouted up, housing Earth crops and providing safe living spaces. The remnants of Earth's fleet were repurposed, some becoming the foundations for new cities, others converted into orbital defense platforms. Despite the progress, Ilara couldn't shake the feeling that they were living on borrowed time. The Krell and Graf knew about the wormhole network, and it was only a matter of time before they found Nova Terra. 3 months into the colonization effort, Ilara called a meeting of her newly formed War Council. The holographic displays showed the progress they'd made, but also highlighted their vulnerabilities. "We've managed to salvage and repair most of our ships," Raj reported, "but we're still drastically outgunned compared to the Krell or Graf fleets." Dr. Tanaka chimed in, her eyes bright with excitement despite the grim situation. "I've been studying the Zinthari artifact we brought with us. I believe with more time, we could use it to access more of their advanced technology, possibly even find other hidden worlds like this one." Ilara nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. "That's good work, both of you, but we need more than just technology. We need allies." It was at that moment that an alarm blared through the command center. A ship had emerged from the wormhole, but it wasn't Krell or Graf. To everyone's surprise, it was an Etheri vessel. The crystalline beings had been allies during the Battle of Earth, and their arrival brought a glimmer of hope. As Ilara met with the Etheri ambassador, she learned that not all was lost. "We've been searching for you," the Etheri communicated through pulses of light. "The galaxy is in turmoil. The Krell and Graf alliance is fracturing, and many species are resisting their rule. Your stand at Earth inspired many." This news galvanized Ilara and the human leadership. They weren't alone in this fight. With the Etheri's help, they began to reach out to other species who opposed the Krell and Graf. Slowly but surely, a resistance movement began to form. But even as they built alliances and strengthened their defenses, Ilara knew they needed something more. Humanity couldn't just hide and defend. They needed to take the fight to their enemies. Late one night, as Ilara stood on a balcony overlooking the glittering crystalline forests of Nova Terra, an idea began to form. She recalled something from the Zinthari database, a piece of technology so advanced it had seemed like pure fantasy. The next morning, she gathered her top scientists and engineers. "I want to build a ship," she announced. "Not just any ship, but one that combines the best of human ingenuity with the most advanced Zinthari technology we can understand. A ship that can outfight a Krell dreadnought and outmaneuver a Graf battlecruiser. A ship that will be the symbol of humanity's resurrection." The project, dubbed Phoenix, became the focus of their efforts. As construction began in a hidden shipyard orbiting Nova Terra, Ilara felt a sense of purpose she hadn't experienced since the evacuation. This wasn't just about survival anymore, it was about reclaiming their place in the galaxy. Months passed and the Phoenix took shape. It was unlike any vessel ever built by human hands. Its hull was composed of a metamaterial that could adapt to different types of energy weapons. Its engines incorporated Zinthari principles that allowed it to manipulate spacetime itself for propulsion. And at its heart was a weapon system derived from the same technology that powered the wormhole network. As Ilara stood in the shipyard, watching the final touches being put on the Phoenix, she felt a presence beside her. It was Kira Zen, the Zinthari observer who had helped them during the evacuation. "You've come far in a short time," Kurizen communicated. "But are you prepared for what comes next? The path you're choosing will not be easy." Ilara turned to face the ethereal being, her expression resolute. "We've lost our home, but we haven't lost who we are. Humanity has always faced challenges head-on. We're not just going to hide and hope our enemies forget about us. We're going to remind the galaxy why they should never underestimate us." Kurizen's form shimmered in what Ilara had come to recognize as approval. "Then it is time. The Zinthari have watched and waited. Now we will stand with you." As if on cue, alarms began to sound throughout the colony. Long-range sensors had detected a massive fleet entering the system. The Krell and Graf had found them. Ilara's voice rang out clear and strong over the colony's communications system. "This is the moment we've prepared for. We are no longer refugees. We are the defenders of Nova Terra, the protectors of humanity's future. To your stations, everyone. Today we fight back." As the Phoenix powered up for its maiden voyage, Ilara took her place on the bridge. The viewscreen showed the approaching enemy fleet, but instead of fear, she felt a surge of determination. "All ships, assume defensive formations," she ordered. "Phoenix will take point. Let's show these bastards what happens when you back humanity into a corner." With a burst of energy that lit up the space around it, the Phoenix launched forward, leading humanity's counterattack. The Great Exodus had ended, and the war to reclaim their place in the galaxy had begun. The hidden sanctuary. The battle for Nova Terra raged across the star system. The Phoenix, under Captain Ilara Chen's command, proved to be everything they had hoped for and more. Its advanced weapons cut through Krell battleships like tissue paper, while its revolutionary defenses shrugged off attacks that would have vaporized lesser vessels. But even with their technological marvel, the human fleet was vastly outnumbered. For every enemy ship they destroyed, 3 more seemed to take its place. Ilara knew they couldn't win through firepower alone. They needed a game-changer. As the Phoenix executed a daring maneuver to draw fire away from the colony, Ilara's mind raced. There had to be something in the Zinthari database they hadn't fully explored yet, some piece of knowledge that could turn the tide. Suddenly, her comm crackled to life. It was Dr. Yuki Tanaka, her voice breathless with excitement. "Captain, I found something in the artifact's data. Coordinates to, well, I'm not sure what exactly, but it's big, it's old, and it's Zinthari." Ilara's heart raced. This could be the answer they needed. But leaving Nova Terra defenseless was not an option. She made a split-second decision. "Raj, you have the con," she ordered her first officer. "Hold the line here. I'm taking a strike team to investigate these coordinates." Using the Phoenix's superior speed and stealth capabilities, Ilara and a small team managed to slip past the enemy fleet. They jumped to the mysterious coordinates, emerging in a system unlike any they had ever seen. A massive space station hung in orbit around a dead star, its design clearly Zinthari in origin. But unlike the artifact they had found, this station hummed with power, its surface adorned with pulsing lights and energy conduits. "By all that's holy," whispered Lieutenant Commander Sara Chang, the team's engineer. "That thing's bigger than Earth's moon." As they approached, the station seemed to react to their presence. A hangar bay opened, beckoning them inside. Ilara knew they were walking into the unknown, but they had no choice. The fate of humanity rested on what they might find within. The interior of the station was a maze of advanced technology, much of it beyond their comprehension. But as they explored deeper, guided by an unseen force, they began to understand the true nature of this place. It wasn't just a space station. It was a forge, a factory, and a library all in one. A hidden sanctuary where the Zinthari had safeguarded their most advanced technologies and knowledge. In a vast central chamber, they found what appeared to be a control interface. As Ilara approached it, the system sprang to life, holographic displays filling the air around them. A familiar voice echoed through the chamber. "Welcome, children of Earth, Kirizen materialized before them. You have found the nexus, the heart of Zinthari power in this galaxy. Ilara's mind reeled at the implications. This could change everything. But why show us this now? Why not when Earth was under attack? Kirizen's form shimmered with what might have been regret. Our laws forbade direct interference, but your actions, your resilience in the face of near extinction, have proven your worth. The Nexus is now yours to command. As Kirizen explained the capabilities of the Nexus, Ilara's hope grew. It could produce advanced ships and weapons at an unprecedented rate. Its sensors could track fleet movements across the galaxy. And most importantly, it held the key to unlocking the full potential of the wormhole network. But time was running out. Nova Terra was still under siege, and they needed to act fast. How quickly can we get this station operational? Ilara asked, her mind already formulating plans. The Nexus responds to thought and intent, Kirizen replied. With your compatibility to Zinthari technology, you can begin immediately. Ilara turned to her team, her eyes blazing with determination. You heard the lady, let's wake this place up. What followed was a frantic rush of activity. As Ilara interfaced with the Nexus's systems, she felt as if her consciousness was expanding, connecting with the vast network of Zinthari technology spread throughout the galaxy. She saw wormholes flickering to life, connecting distant star systems. She witnessed automated factories springing into action, producing ships and weapons of unimaginable power. And she felt the Nexus itself begin to move, plotting a course back to Nova Terra. Meanwhile, back at the embattled colony, the situation had grown dire. The human fleet was on the verge of collapse, and the Krell were preparing for a final push to the surface. Just as all seemed lost, space itself seemed to tear open. The Nexus emerged from a massive wormhole, its weapons already firing. Swarms of automated drones poured forth, engaging the enemy fleet. Ilara's voice boomed across all frequencies. Attention Krell and Graf forces. This is Captain Ilara Chen of the Earth Defense Force. You came to our home seeking our destruction. Instead, you'll witness our resurrection. The tide of battle shifted dramatically. The advanced weapons of the Nexus cut through the enemy fleet like a hot knife through butter. Wormholes opened throughout the system, allowing reinforcements to arrive from hidden Zinthari outposts across the galaxy. As the Krell and Graf fleets broke formation and began to retreat, Ilara felt a moment of triumph. But she knew this was just the beginning. Turning to Kirizen, she asked the question that had been burning in her mind. What now? We have the power to strike back, to reclaim Earth. But at what cost? The Zinthari's form pulsed thoughtfully. The power of the Nexus is great, but it is not absolute. How you use it will determine not just the fate of humanity, but potentially the balance of power in the galaxy. Choose wisely, Ilara Chen. The real test begins now. As Ilara looked out at the stars, she knew that the hardest decisions lay ahead. The hidden sanctuary had given them hope and power beyond their wildest dreams. But with that power came responsibility. The war to reclaim Earth and secure humanity's place in the galaxy was far from over. But for the first time since the fall of their homeworld, Ilara allowed herself to believe that they might just win. With the Nexus at their command and the spirit of humanity burning brighter than ever, they were ready to face whatever challenges the universe might throw at them. The next chapter of human history was about to be written among the stars. Humanity's triumph. The discovery of the Nexus marked a turning point in humanity's struggle for survival. With its vast resources and advanced technology at their disposal, Captain Ilara Chen and the remnants of Earth's civilization began to turn the tide against their enemies. Months passed as Ilara and her team worked tirelessly to unlock the full potential of the Zinthari technology. The Nexus became a beacon of hope, a mobile fortress from which humanity could strike back against the Krell and Graf forces that had driven them from their home. But Ilara knew that true victory would require more than just superior firepower. As she stood on the command deck of the Nexus, Watching holographic displays of fleet movements across the galaxy, she contemplated their next move. "We can't just focus on military victories," she mused aloud to her advisors. "We need to win hearts and minds across the galaxy if we're going to create lasting peace." Dr. Yuki Tanaka, who had become their foremost expert on Zinthari technology, nodded in agreement. "The Nexus isn't just a weapon, Captain. It's a repository of knowledge that could benefit countless species." With this in mind, Ilara launched a bold initiative. Using the Nexus's advanced communication systems, they began broadcasting messages of peace and cooperation to worlds that had been oppressed by the Krell and Graph. They offered aid, shared non-military technology, and extended a hand of friendship to those who had suffered under tyranny. The response was beyond their wildest hopes. Dozens of species, inspired by humanity's resilience and generosity, pledged their support. A coalition began to form, united not just against the Krell and Graph, but for a vision of a more just and cooperative galaxy. As their allies grew in number, so did their military might. The shipyards of the Nexus worked around the clock, producing vessels that combined the best of human ingenuity with Zinthari technology. The Phoenix, once unique, became the flagship of an armada unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. Finally, after years of preparation and smaller engagements, the time came for the decisive battle. Their target, Earth itself. The plan was audacious. Using the wormhole network, they would launch simultaneous attacks on key Krell and Graph strongholds across the galaxy, drawing away their main fleets. Meanwhile, Ilara would lead the primary assault force to reclaim their homeworld. As the massive fleet assembled near the Nexus, Ilara addressed her forces. Her voice, transmitted across thousands of ships, rang with determination. "Today, we fight not just for Earth, but for the future of the galaxy. We fight to prove that cooperation and compassion can triumph over tyranny and fear. Whatever happens, know that your actions today will echo through history. For Earth, for Nova Terra, for a free galaxy, let's bring it home." The battle that followed was one for the ages. The wormholes flared to life, disgorging ships by the thousands. The Krell and Graph, caught off guard by the multi-pronged assault, found their forces stretched thin. At Earth, Ilara led the charge aboard the Phoenix. The sight of their blue world, scarred but unbroken, filled the human forces with renewed vigor. They fought with a ferocity that surprised even their allies, cutting through the enemy defenses like a hot knife through butter. But the Krell and Graph wouldn't go down without a fight. They unleashed weapons of terrifying power, targeting the Nexus itself. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed as though their greatest asset might be destroyed. It was then that Kirazen, who had been silent for months, reappeared. The Zinthari's form materialized on the bridge of the Phoenix, its energy pulsing with urgency. "The time has come, Ilara Chen," Kirazen communicated. "The Nexus was always meant to be more than a weapon or a factory. It is a key to unlocking the true power of the Zinthari legacy." With Kirazen's guidance, Ilara interfaced with the Nexus one final time. As her consciousness merged with the ancient technology, she felt a surge of power unlike anything she had ever experienced. The Nexus began to transform, its structure shifting and expanding. In a blinding flash of energy, the Nexus revealed its true form, a massive star-like construct that dwarfed even the largest ships in the battle. Waves of energy pulsed outward, disabling enemy weapons and shields, while leaving allied ships untouched. The tide of battle shifted dramatically. Krell and Graph ships, their systems failing, began to surrender en masse. On the surface of Earth, resistance cells that had been fighting a guerrilla war for years emerged from hiding, overthrowing their oppressors. As the dust settled, Ilara found herself standing on the surface of Earth for the first time in years. The planet was battered and scarred, but alive. As she looked up at the sky, she saw not just stars, but the ships of 100 allied species, a testament to the coalition they had built. In the days that followed, the true work began. The the Krell and Grath empires, their leadership in disarray, sued for peace. Elara and the coalition leadership worked tirelessly to forge a new galactic accord, one based on mutual respect and cooperation rather than domination. The Nexus, its true power revealed, became a symbol of this new era. Its vast knowledge and capabilities were shared among all species, ushering in an unprecedented age of prosperity and scientific advancement. As for humanity, they found themselves in a unique position, with colonies on both Earth and Nova Terra, and their role in uniting the galaxy. They had become a linchpin of interstellar civilization. Years later, as Elara stood on the observation deck of a new station orbiting Earth, she reflected on their journey. From the brink of extinction to the architects of a new galactic order, humanity had come further than anyone could have imagined. A familiar presence materialized beside her. Kirazen, now a permanent liaison between the Zinthari and the younger races, gazed out at the bustling space lanes. "You have exceeded all expectations," Elara Chen, the Zinthari, communicated. "The galaxy stands on the threshold of a golden age, thanks to you and your people." Elara smiled, her eyes fixed on the horizon where Earth's sun was rising. "We had help, and we still have much to learn. But whatever challenges the universe has in store for us next, I know we'll face them together." As ships from 100 worlds streaked across the sky, Elara felt a sense of profound hope. The Black Ship Chronicles had begun with humanity's darkest hour, but it had led them to their greatest triumph. Whatever the future held, they would meet it head-on, united and unafraid. The journey among the stars continued, and humanity's bold adventure was only just beginning.